and let us all do we can to build a better future. All right. We have to bring back this old classic. Everyone, the Democrats are ready to Biden it up. That's right. The Democrats are getting ready to Biden it up because apparently now there's now talk about 5 Democrats that are quietly being moved in to succeed Biden. Now, there are 5 Democrats that are being mentioned, except for a guy. He has like a YouTube channel, and he's running for the Democratic nomination. Honestly, Cenk, if the book sales were that bad, stop embarrassing yourself because, again, you have to be born in the US of A to run for the office of President of the United States, okay? Now, we all know how slow the legal system works. And you're trying bring this up to the Supreme Court during the election cycle. If you're not on the ballot in Nevada, and if you're not going to be making it on the ballot in New Hampshire, buddy, Cenk, somebody needs to sit you down. Anna needs to sit you down, give you a Snickers bar or something, because you're not thinking clearly. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to, everyone, if everyone's not already laughing at you, they are, man. Because here, hold on. Shout out to Case Study QB. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. He's wrongly being censored. Man does phenomenal work as always because he's the world heavyweight champion of getting stuff done because he is the best there is. So let's go ahead and bring up this video here where the 5 discussed Democrats quietly being moved in to succeed Biden. I wonder which Democrats they're going to bring up. Willing to bet they're going to bring up Kamala.
Well, it looks like some sneaky Democrats are working behind the scenes to send Joe Biden to the retirement home of his choice. According to a new report from Axios, members of Joe's party are quietly jockeying to succeed Biden in 2024. If the big guy does, in fact, bow out. Some are beefing up their political organizations, going to early presidential primary states, and embarking on resume-building foreign trips. Probably explains why Gavin Newsom was out in China and plowing into children. This was a charge, Harold. That was definitely not a block. It was a charge, and it was embarrassing. You would think Kamala is the shoo-in to replace Biden, but check out this headline from The Messenger. Quote, Kamala Harris tries another reboot to win over a skeptical public. What is this? Like the millionth reboot for Kamala? And just like all the other attempts to remake her image, it ends once she gets in front of a microphone.
Now, I'm not a fan of Fox News, just like I'm not a fan of CNN, but you know, when I get to see them rip apart Democrats, it is magnifique. I love it. I love it. And to be clear, look, to the people in the great state of California who are my viewing member audience, and I don't care where you stand on the political spectrum, type in the live stream or in the comment section below what California is really like. Is it laughs and jokes and a swell good time? Or is it an ever-living nightmare with Gavin Newsom as your governor? And folks, Kamala, well, the less said, the better, because she definitely needs to take that advice. She needs to be quiet because she's not helping out Biden or the administration.
One of the greatest threats to democracy is mis and disinformation. Now, the fact of mis and disinformation is not new. But what increasingly has happened with the evolution of technology is mis and disinformation can spread quickly, and with AI in particular, can take on a form that makes it very difficult for the receiver of that information to distinguish between fact or fiction.
That didn't make any goddamn sense. And if you understood it, man, you're a better person than me.
I don't know what we just heard. I think it was about AI. Harold, I'm going to ask you first here again. Let me just get this straight. Newsom, Ro Khanna, Cory Booker's putting the fund together reportedly for 2026. Of course, Dean Phillips, J.B. Pritzker. The list goes on and on. What are they doing here with 2024?
They're talking a lot of names here. Marianne Williamson, Cenk Uygur, cricket. No one sees them.
I don't know. I think that anyone that is seeking to undertake a quiet campaign for the nomination of his or her political party will win. The best campaigns, which are winning campaigns, are bold, they're loud, they're engaging, they're strategic, they're substantive. These kinds of things happen on both sides. It gets a lot more attention, rightly so, the last 1 or 2 cycles because we have third parties and you're able to raise money differently. But I don't suspect that anyone will quietly beat Joe Biden. You're going to have to loudly beat the incumbent in a party. We've not had an incumbent president defeated in a primary. They've been challenged, and those challengers have, I think, weakened them in the general. But I think they're probably, I'm not naive about this. They're probably believing that if President Biden decides not to run for some reason, they want to be prepared, and that looks as if that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I want to pull up this article here real quick, because when somebody like Axelrod comes around and says, hey, Axelrod says it's the last moment for Biden to check if he should drop out. The writing is on the wall. Biden is too old and too senile. He's too weak. He's too pathetic. He's too small. He's too puny. He doesn't know where he's at. And the thing is, so many progressive heavyweights like AOC and bombs away Bernie Sanders decided to endorse him, support him. They don't even believe in themselves or the progressive cause anymore, especially now that they have been so well connected within the Democratic establishment, because they truly are. But the fact that you got somebody like Axelrod saying, hey, Biden should maybe drop out. Former President Barack Obama's senior advisor, David Axelrod, said it's the last moment for President Biden to check if he should drop out of the 2024 presidential race. I remember when he said he was going to be a one-term president. On Sunday, Axelrod, in a wake of a new poll showing Biden trailing former President Trump in key swing states, said Biden needs to decide if it's wise to continue his run. The poll found Biden trailing Trump in 5 out of 6 battleground states, including Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, and Georgia. When questioned about his comments Monday, Axelrod told CNN that it is a good time for Biden to check if he should keep up his campaign. Sunday marked 1 year before the election. The thing is, Democrats, if you actually give a damn, about the way you're being perceived, you wouldn't have had the old man Biden say that he was going to run. Everybody sees Biden acting senile. It's perfect political ammunition for somebody like Trump to take advantage of. And plus, hey, vote blue no matter who, people. All you Bernie Sanders sycophants who said, like, no, Bernie and AOC got a plan. They're going to push Biden to the left. What's it like eating crow? Okay? Because Daniel and I said this on the show in 2020 that Trump was going to come back. And that Biden has a long, sad history of being on the wrong side of history. Nothing's going to fundamentally change. And that there's a very good chance that if Trump does run, he will defeat Biden. Simple as that. There's no denying it. And nothing did change under Biden. Biden and Harris still kept a lot of Donald Trump's foreign and domestic policies. The kids are still in cages. Infrastructure's falling apart here, folks, and we got a rise of inflation. Of course, somebody like Trump's going to take advantage of that. Plus, by the way, take a wild guess. And of course, it's all politics. All politics is theatrics, but perception drives reality. And this is the key thing. Perception drives reality. Who visited East Palestine first? No matter good intentions or not. Donald Trump or Joe Biden? Oh, that's right. Trump did. Oh, and by the way, just so you all know, Biden has yet to visit East Palestine, Ohio. Yet to visit. Continue on. As I've said for like a couple of years now, the issue's not for him is not political. It's actual. You could see that in this poll, there is just a lot of concern about the age issue. And that is something I think he needs to ponder. Just do a check and say, is this the right thing to do? Is this the best pass? I suspect that he will say yes, but time is fleeting here. And this is probably the last moment for him to do that check. And it's probably good if he does. The poll is a major warning for Biden's campaign after he carried all 6 battleground states in 2020 against Trump. The poll found that Biden was ahead of Trump only in Wisconsin. Axelrod told CNN that he's not reaching to one poll with his comments, but he has had conversations with people and finds the 2024 a unique year considering the threat of Trump, oh my goodness, who is leading the GOP primary race on the other side of the aisle. Just want to bring up old Cenk here for a second. By the way, he's trying to run. Everybody knows Biden couldn't even survive a debate with me. Oh my goodness. Or, hey, Representative Phillips or Marianne Williamson. People who nobody cares about. And even in the off chance, let's say Cenk somehow gets on, or Phillips or Marianne Williamson manage to win. The DNC, you three stooges, has the legal right to say, we don't like the results. How does anyone think he's going to survive Trump and make a 10-point comeback? No one thinks that. They're just too differential to authority to say the obvious. This man cannot win. Here it is. Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Biden is losing to Trump. Let's go back to this video from Case Study QB.
And Dana, the option is it's not simply beating him in a primary. There is the outside option as well of replacing him at the convention,
which is messy because then you have to figure out how to get them on the ballot. That's also very difficult. Dean Phillips is the Minnesota congressman challenging Biden. He had his first town hall.
Yeah, heck of a day. Yes.
Yeah, that did not do well. His first town hall. I encourage you to read up a little bit about that. That seemed like a real doozy. But I just would like to imagine the Democratic governor's group chat, like on text. And hey, you go to New Hampshire. I'm going to go to South Carolina. You go to, like, we got to figure out a way to do this, but they're also plotting against each other. So then like the subtext under the text messages would probably be like a fun thing to see. I also think that the White House uses these Kamala reboots as a distraction for conservative media so that you don't focus on the other things like the economy or the border or crime. Even though voters are paying attention to all those things, conservative media, you like watch Kamala's speech and you're like, oh, I got to comment on that because what was she talking about in terms of AI? So I also would end on this. The Biden team says the fundamentals of the race show we are still in a strong position.
Hey, folks, let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1, if you think Biden's got this in the bag and he has got nothing to worry about. Type 2. No, he's doing a number 2, Kit, in his pants, and that's the only thing Biden is accomplishing.
In my experience, if you are saying the fundamentals of the race are strong, you are really worried about what's happening. Romney used to say that. McCain used to say that. They both lost.
That's the entirety of the issue, Greg. I mean, Joe Biden will be pressured to leave the race, whether or not it's a convention or being beat in a primary, if it's seen that he'll lose a general election. And right now, I mean, to your point, Dana, in that language being used, there's certainly no strong thing he's going to win a general election.
Yeah, it feels like the plot of Succession, you know, with all the kids jockeying because the dad has a heart problem. They're all kind of just sitting there waiting for the right time. They have to do it all at once. I think I'm going to use an analogy using air travel to describe Joe's presidency. If you're on a short puddle jumper of a flight, you never really settle in, right? You keep your jacket on, you don't grab a thick book because it's going to be over soon. So don't get too interested in the experience. That's Joe, right? You need a young president who's going to be on that plane for a while because then he makes sure that the experience is livable. This has been my problem with Joe for the last 3 years. Your problems he doesn't see as part of your life. He sees them as part of his life, and he's nearing the end of it. He does.
And that's the thing about being the setting sun. Eventually, you just don't care anymore. Look, Biden exhibits the signs of dementia, exhibits the signs of Alzheimer's, exhibits a sign of somebody who's not mentally or physically fit anymore. Biden is a president who had his time, but it has to be over now. And that's the thing with all these old politicians, from Nancy Pelosi to Turtle Boy Mitch McConnell, who freezes like a statue. But never forget, it was people like Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kalinske and the Vote Blue No Matter Who crowd suffering from Trump derangement syndrome saying, oh, we gotta support Biden because Trump. You see, I want to pause here from this video and go up to a second video here. We return back to somebody who is so deluded into thinking that they are still relevant. Cenk Uygur trying to once again get on the New Hampshire ballot, being interviewed on his own show. Cenk, look, Cenk, listen. I know that this little run of yours won't really gain that much ground. And anyone that's given money to your campaign is probably a sucker, okay? So, you know, if you want to be taken serious, hey, why don't you go on Joe Rogan's show or Jimmy Dore's show? You know, you already did your thing on the Hill. Was rising. You already went on, you know, breaking points. You know, why don't you go on other shows? Because you make yourself look like a clown. And I'm willing to bet once things go south, you're going to tell your audience to vote for Biden. You're going to tell them. You did it in 2016, telling people to vote for Hill Dog. You did it in 2020, telling people to vote for Biden. And you're going to do it again in the aftermath of the 2024 Democratic primary.
There's also an argument that New Hampshire, and we've heard this from the Democrats and the Democratic establishment, that it doesn't matter how you do or how Dean Phillips does in New Hampshire, because New Hampshire has essentially changed the calendar. The Biden administration, the Democratic National Committee run by Joe Biden, they have determined that South Carolina goes first, and that if New Hampshire leapfrogs ahead of them, as New Hampshire will do, then Biden's not participating. So at the moment, Joe Biden's not participating in New Hampshire, although there's something of an effort to try to have write-in for Joe Biden. But the point that Biden and his supporters are making is that therefore New Hampshire doesn't matter, that ignore Dean Phillips, Cenk Uygur, Marianne Williamson, or anybody else who gets in, because
Cenk, you're not even on the ballot. Seriously. Hey, David Shuster, Hustler. I want to call him David Hustler. David Hustler, my main man. Listen, I know you got to get that paycheck, but come on, man. And you got to realize that this campaign that Cenk is doing is one big joke.
Because Biden is not competing in New Hampshire. What do you say to that?
Look, there's a lot of deep problems with it. But first of all, you think I'm going to listen to DNC rules when the DNC sets up all of its rules to protect the authoritarian leader?
Oh God, he did it again. He did it again. Again, he does it. Why? Why, Jake? Do you like getting smacked around? The DNC, the game is rigged. And even if the Democrats do have a replacement for Joe Biden, I know you're going to tell people to vote Democrat again because you got Trump derangement syndrome.
And has protected corporate establishment, corrupt politicians my whole life, and has set every rule against progressives, and I'm supposed to care who they think is going to go first? No, I'm going to New Hampshire, and I'm going to win New Hampshire.
Oh man, hey, listen, the world is dying. The world is going crazy. But we need laughter, my friends. Thank you, Cenk. Thank you for bringing humor. Thank you.
I love New Hampshire. And if Joe Biden doesn't love New Hampshire, Joe Biden wants to betray New Hampshire, that's his business. Good, don't run in New Hampshire. We don't want you, okay? And let New Hampshire pick someone who's gonna fight for them. So no, I have no regard for the DNC rules. None when it comes to trying to betray New Hampshire and make sure that they're not the first primary state. So look, you find
the DNC rigs the game, okay? So yes, and listen, if I was a voter in New Hampshire or Iowa, I would be upset because the DNC is just upending the whole system as it is. But it's then the first time we see the DNC rig the game because they want to have South Carolina portray Biden as this great unifier, even though black voters, Arab voters, Muslim voters, women voters, the LGBT community, everyone, millennials, Gen Z, are all righteously pissed off at Joe Biden and the Democrats. So, Cenk, after Bernie Sanders abandoned his movement and disbanded the political following that you yourself hyped on and got on board, what makes you think people are going to follow you, man? This is already late in the game. If anything, the best case for somebody like Cenk or progressive, if they were going to run a Democratic Party, and again, running a Democratic Party, it's a rigged game. You should have done this either at the end of 2022 or the very start of 2023, setting down and creating the foundations necessary to potentially fight the Democratic Party. However, it's like trying to push the mountain up the boulder like Sisyphus. You just can't do it eternally. The DNC is going to rig the game against you. Cenk, thank you for bringing humor.
All the details, because on the Young Turks, unless I'm a guest in very rare situations like this, I can't tell you anything about my campaign. So follow the campaign at cenkforamerica.com. Facebook.com/Cenk Uygur official, where we'll give more videos, campaign updates all the time. Facebook.com/Cenk Uygur official, cenkforamerica.com, and at Twitter and at Instagram at Cenk Uygur. We'll give you campaign updates there. We'll tell you how to exact address of the state archives building, etc. But no, I'm going to New Hampshire. I'm going to compete in New Hampshire, and if they put me on the ballot,
If that's the key word. If that's the word for today here at Hard Lens Media on the streets of Chicago. If it would be really great if I won the lottery. It'd be really great if $1 million landed in my lap. It'd be really great if I didn't have to wake up under the threat of possibly World War III happening. It would be really great if this inflation was no longer around. If. Hope in one hand, crap in the other. You know what that leads to. Cenk, it leads to an oof. I'm having too much fun with this. Let's return back to Fox.
Doesn't sweat the small stuff, right? I've had a good life. He takes everything in stride, whether it's the border, whether it's crime, whether it's inflation, because all of those consequences, I'm not going to be around for this. We need a president who actually is going to feel the consequences of their policies. We need somebody young in there.
Kaylee, it's not just the list of names I just read off to Harold. There's also RFK Jr. out there, right? And a no labels party potential, putting a candidate forward. I mean, there's a lot of things in the way of Joe Biden winning a general election, and then, a Republican nominee.
Yeah, everyone likes to focus on Trump and the challenges in the general. But my goodness, to your point, RFK Jr., if he gets on enough ballots in the right states, that is a deal breaker, potentially. Look, 6% was the amount of voters who went third party in 2016. That was when Hillary Clinton ran. It was 2% in 2020. And 2-1, those voters broke for Joe Biden. A third party candidate could be his undoing. A lot of people argue it was Hillary Clinton's undoing. And then enthusiasm. 38% of people say we're voting on Joe Biden because we like Joe Biden. 58% say we're voting on Joe Biden because we hate Trump. And then it flips for Trump, where it's nearly 60% saying we're voting on Trump because we like Trump. He has an enthusiasm problem, potentially a third party problem. So for all the talk about Trump, look at Joe Biden. He's got a lot of troubles heading into 2024.
Nancy Pelosi said that no labels represented a threat to our democracy.
No labels is nothing but a corporate think tank and plan by both Democratic and Republican centrists. So anyone that's promoting or hyping up no labels as the end-all, be-all solution, trust me, and folks, you're walking into disaster. No labels is not a real third party. It's just Democrats and Republicans coming together to have their own nefarious deeds. Okay, so look, Biden and Democrats are losing voters in support. Biden and the Democrats are failing across the board. It's not my fault that they're not inspiring others. We said that they are not going to lead by example. We here at Hard Lens Media, as did everybody else in independent media, especially after 2020, we've all been saying the same thing, and we have been proven correct. Not right, correct. Correct in our assessment of the Democrats and how they failed the people. If you look at the economy right now, Americans are struggling day in, day out just to make ends meet. But yet somehow we have money for unlimited war and to bail out the banks and corporations. Owning a home, it is becoming a dream. No, wait, it's becoming a legend. Oh, wait, it's becoming a myth. That's what's happening under Joe Biden's America. But yet somehow people like Marianne Williamson, who's on a glorified book tour, Cenk Uygur, who's living in his own reality, thinking that somehow they're going to change the system up. And by the way, no matter who the Democrats pick, it's going to be an establishment pick. We saw it in 2016 and 2020, how the Democrats play their game. They're going to want who they want and who they can manipulate and who will be biddable. Break against the system and fight for a better future. But hey, if we want a good laugh, let's just watch the sinking ship that's called the Democratic Party. It's going to be hilarious. Notice, two of the individuals who are running in the Democratic primary are going to be promoting their book. You got Marianne Williamson, and then you got Cenk Uygur. While the world is going crazy, at least we can have some humor. And I think we're entitled to that, some laughter.